Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Beanpot, Ice Hockey. The Beanpot is an ice hockey tournament among the 4 major college hockey schools of the Boston, Massachusetts area, held annually since the 1952-53 season. The tournament gives the winner bragging rights over its crosstown rivals, and the quest for this highly sought-after trophy is contested in front of fanatic crowds from all 4 schools in annual sellouts. Format. The competitors are: the tournament lasts 2 rounds, with first-round opponents being rotated from year to year. The second round features the consolation game and the championship game. In addition to the tournament trophy, 2 individual awards are given out each year. The Eberle Trophy goes to the goaltender with the highest save percentage who plays in both of his team's games, while the Beanpot MVP is awarded to tournament's most valuable player. History. The first Beanpot was contested at Boston Arena in December 1952. No tournament was played during the 1953 calendar year. The next 2 tournaments were held in January. All subsequent Beanpot games have been played in February. The second through 43rd Beanpots were held at the old Boston Garden. Since 1996, the Beanpot has been held at the Garden's replacement, currently called the TD Garden. The competition generally takes place on the first and second Mondays in February, and often draws one of the largest crowds of the college hockey season outside of the Frozen Four. The 1978 Beanpot has taken a mythic place in Boston sports lore, as several hundred fans were stuck in the Garden for several days after the blizzard of 1978 dumped more than 2 feet of snow during the night of the first-round games. The championship and consolation games were moved to Wednesday, March 1st. Every championship game to date has featured either Boston College or Boston University, or both. Harvard and Northeastern have never met in the Beanpot final. Boston College controlled the early years of the Beanpot, winning 8 titles in the first 13 tournaments, with Harvard taking 4 and BU just 1. Between 1966 and 2009, however, the Boston University Terriers historically dominated the Beanpot, winning 28 out of 43 titles, prompting fans to nickname the contest the BU Invitational. An apt name, as BU has made it to the title game 53 of 66 years, only missing 13 times. However, in recent years, the balance of power has again tipped towards the Eagles of Boston College, who have won 6 titles in 7 years between 2010-2016. In that stretch, BC won 5 consecutive titles from 2010-2014, losing out in the first round in 2015, and regaining the title most recently in 2016. The beginning of BU's Beanpot dominance was also the first year on the ice for Jack Parker. Parker won titles in each of the 3 years he played for the Terriers, and after taking over as head coach in 1973-74, Parker won 21 more championships. Northeastern, the only Beanpot team that has never won an NCAA hockey title, failed to win a Beanpot until 1980, when an overtime goal by Wayne Turner against Boston College gave the Huskies a win. Turner's wrist shot has often been called the most important goal in Northeastern history, and is generally considered the marquee sporting moment for the university. It is also known as the shot heard round the Beanpot. Northeastern won 3 more titles in the 1980s, but failed to capture the Beanpot for 30 years until breaking their streak in 2018. The Huskies came close to winning their 5th title in 2005, when they rallied from a 2-0 goal deficit to tie BU, but fell in overtime when Chris Bourque, son of former Boston Bruin Ray Bourque, scored the winning goal. They have made it to championship game 5 times in the past 8 years, but fell to Boston College in 2011, 2013, and 2014 and to Boston University in 2015. The 2015 installment saw another close Northeastern loss, coming back from a 3-1 deficit in the 3rd to 4th overtime, but were defeated only 51 seconds into the extra period off a power play goal by Matt Grzelcyk. Northeastern won their latest championship in 2018, with a dominating 5-2 victory over BU, in a rare year where the Huskies were the strongest team in the field, having come into the tournament ranked highest in the pairwise over the other 3 Beanpot schools. Harvard shared some success with Boston College in the early years of the tournament, winning 4 titles in the first 10 years. as well as making the title game each of the first 4 tournaments and winning the very first title game. However, they have only seen sporadic success since, winning 11 titles in the 65 years of the tournament, most recently capturing their first title since 1993 and 2017. They had only made the title game 3 times in between, in 1994, 1998, and 2008. It should also be noted that none of the 4 competing teams have won the NCAA Division I Men's Ice Hockey Championship without first winning the Beanpot Trophy that season. With the exception of the 1949 Boston College Eagles, all 5 Boston University NCAA championships, Boston College's 4 other NCAA championships, and Harvard's sole 1989 NCAA championship, were all accompanied by a victory in the Beanpot title game. Northeastern has not yet won an NCAA championship. This phenomenon has led fans of the Beanpot schools to believe dreams for a national title hold water if they indeed succeed in February. Boston College head coach Jerry York has often referred to the beginning of February as trophy season, in which the Beanpot title is the first of 3 trophies that he wishes his team to attain, the others being the Hockey East Tournament Trophy and the NCAA Tournament Trophy. 2014. The 2014 Beanpot took place on February 3rd and 10th. In the first round of the tournament, Northeastern defeated Harvard in a 6-0 rout, and BC defeated BU 3-1. Harvard would defeat BU in the consolation round 6-2, marking the first time in tournament history that BU finished last in consecutive tournaments. In a rematch of the previous season's championship, BC defeated Northeastern by a score of 4-1. It was a tight 1-1 contest through 2 3/4 periods, but the Eagles pulled away with a deflection goal by senior captain Patrick Brown, who managed to redirect the puck while lying on his back. Kevin Hayes was named MVP, and freshman Thatcher Demko was awarded the Ebley with the 3rd highest save percentage in tournament history. BC earned its 5th consecutive championship and 19th in program history. BC's senior class became the 2nd in school history to go 8-0 and perfect in the tournament, the first class being the previous year's senior class. 2015. The 2015 Beanpot took place on February 3rd and 23rd, with both rounds being respectively delayed due to historically high snowfall. In the opening round of the tournament, Boston University defeated Harvard 4-3 in the second overtime after 82 minutes and 18 seconds of play, with Terrier Danny O'Regan scoring the game-winning goal. During the course of the game, the Terriers outshot Harvard 67-34. Northeastern University narrowly defeated Boston College 3-2 with the game-winning goal occurring with 1:34 left in the 3rd period. This marked the first time since the 2008-09 season that BC has not won the tournament, while Northeastern made its 3rd straight championship game appearance. BC would defeat Harvard 3-2 in overtime of the consolation game. In the championship, BU won its 30th title with a thrilling 4-3 victory in overtime. Northeastern surged late, coming back from a 3-1 deficit in the 3rd to force another period, but a new penalty only 9 seconds into what gave BU a power play chance to win the game. Matt Grzelcyk converted 51 seconds into overtime to give the Terriers the trophy, earning him the Beanpot MVP award. Harvard's Steve Mihalek was awarded the Ebley Award as the best goalie of the tournament. This was the 2nd tournament, the first being in 1987, that 3 of the 4 games went to an overtime period, including both the championship and consolation games. 2016. The 2016 Beanpot took place on February 1st and 8th. The first round of the tournament saw Boston College defeat Harvard 3-2, and Boston University defeat Northeastern 3-1. Northeastern defeated Harvard 5-1 in the consolation game and, for the 22nd time in the history of the tournament, BC and BU competed for the championship, with the Eagles winning a 1-0 overtime contest. This was BU's 2nd consecutive title game and BC's first since winning 5 in a row from 2010, 2014. Northeastern failed to make the title game for the first time since 2012, whereas Harvard has not been to the title game since 2008. The 1-0 championship game was the first ever 1-0 result in the history of the tournament. The championship game was also the sixth of the last 11 title games to go to overtime. 2017. The 2017 Beanpot took place on February 6 and 13. The first round of the tournament saw Harvard defeat Northeastern 4-3, and Boston University defeat Boston College 3-1. Northeastern defeated Boston College 4-2 in the consolation game, and Harvard and BU competed for the championship, with the Crimson winning their 11th title and first since 1993 by a score of 6-3. This was BU's third consecutive title game, and Harvard's first since 2008. Boston College's loss to Northeastern placed them fourth for the first time since 1993, and was only their seventh fourth-place finish in tournament history. Harvard's victory also marked the first non-BC or BU title since Harvard's 1993 victory. 2018. The 2018 Beanpot took place on February 5 and 12. The first round of the tournament saw Northeastern shut out Boston College 3-0, and BU defeat Harvard in double overtime, 3-2. Harvard defeated Boston College 5-4 in overtime of the consolation game, and Northeastern met Boston University in the championship, with the Huskies ending their 30-year drought, winning their fifth title and first since 1988, by a score of 5-2. This was BU's fourth consecutive title game and Northeastern's first since going to three straight between 2013-15. BC's loss to Harvard placed them fourth for the second consecutive year, an occurrence that only happened once before in tournament history between 1974-75. The Huskies' victory also marked a championship for each tournament school in consecutive years: BU in 2015, BC in 2016, Harvard in 2017, and Northeastern in 2018, an occurrence that happened once before between 1980-83. Other Beanpots. The success of the men's ice hockey tournament has spawned Beanpot tournaments in other sports, including basketball, for 14 years ending in 1976, women's ice hockey, baseball, softball, men's and women's soccer, women's rowing and cycling. The women's ice hockey Beanpot takes place each year on the first two Tuesdays in February, one day after their male counterparts. Northeastern and Harvard have historically dominated the tournament, with 14 and 11 titles respectively, but Boston College has won the title 2 years in a row. Notably, they advanced to the 2007 final with a 4-3 triple overtime victory over nationally ranked Harvard, in a game that drew national attention. BC's freshman goalie Molly Scouse set an NCAA record with 73 saves in the contest. In recent years, an informal pep band Beanpot has been held between the two games of the first round of the women's Beanpot, with the bands from each school performing a unique piece. The final round of the baseball Beanpot is played at Fenway Park. A Beanpot for women's rowing was established in 2007, with the crews from Boston College, Boston University, Harvard University, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Northeastern University competing. The first men's lacrosse Beanpot was held October 19, 2008 at Harvard University. Harvard's men's club team hosted Boston University, Boston College, and Northeastern University. There are also many non-athletic events attached to the Beanpot. These typically occur the same time of year as the hockey Beanpot. There is a concert band Beanpot, pep band Beanpot, Beanpot of comedy, and a rice and Beanpot burrito eating contest, sponsored by Qdoba. The concert band Beanpot and Beanpot of comedy are non-competitive events. Also, there is the B-School Beanpot competition, an annual case analysis competition held at Boston University's School of Management since 1996. Undergraduate business schools from the Greater Boston area participate for cash prizes. The concert band Beanpot and Rice and Beanpot participants are the same schools as the men's hockey tournament. The Beanpot of Comedy, hosted by New and Improv of Northeastern University, features sketch and improvisational comedy groups from different schools each year. Past participants have included Boston College, Boston University, Salem State College, Suffolk University, Clark University, and Tufts University. The business Beanpot participants are Babson College, Boston University, Bentley College, Northeastern University, and Suffolk University. Northeastern University has won 10 of the 12 business Beanpots since 1996, and has taken the top 2 spots 4 times. The most recent 1-2 sweep for Northeastern was in 2008. The Boston College Office of Undergraduate Admission and the Boston University Office of Undergraduate Admission also play in the annual Beancan softball tournament, usually held in July. On September 26, 2014, the BBC reported that Boston Mayor Marty Walsh announced publicly during an official visit to Belfast that he was supporting a bid to hold a future Beanpot tournament at Odyssey area in Belfast, and that Walsh reportedly will be hosting a delegation from Belfast alongside representatives from the NCAA and the 4 Beanpot schools in October 2014 to further discuss the possibility. However, after a large negative outcry from the Boston media, Walsh later stated that the idea of moving the tournament to a non-Boston venue was taken out of context, and that he only supported the hosting of a Beanpot-like tournament in Belfast that would feature Massachusetts colleges. All-time results. 4 games are listed for each Beanpot, in the order they were played. There are 2 opening round games, a consolation game featuring the losers of the first 2 games, and a championship game featuring the winners of the first 2 games. The teams rotate opening round opponents on a 3-year cycle, so over history every team faces the others an equal number of times. During the opening round, each row represents 1 Beanpot. Champions are listed in bold. Games requiring 1 overtime are in pink, while games requiring 2 or 3 overtimes are in chartreuse and cyan, respectively. Source: game information obtained from Beanpot official site. Note: during the 2004-05 season, following Fleet's acquisition by Bank of America and the bank's decision to terminate the naming rights to the arena, there was no permanent naming rights sponsor for that season. It was known as Your Garden that year. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?